Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. I hope you're doing well. My name is Randi, and in this video I have a weekend plan and journal with me to share with you. There are 4 different sessions in this video, and I put timestamps at the start of each one. I don't really have any specific topics that I want to preach about during the bulk of this video, so this will end up being a true recap type of video with a book review sprinkled in there. And before I get started, I do want to mention that this isn't what my weekend always looks like. This video may suggest that things are more structured and I sit down to do things in chunks, but some weekends I don't touch my planners at all. Other weekends I will touch my books for like 10 minutes at the top of every hour. It really just depends on the weekend, and filming a video like this definitely has some influence on how that all goes. So as you saw, the first session started on Friday morning. I had a little bit of a later start compared to the usual 5:30 morning journal sesh, but I was really grateful that we were able to sleep in this day. I started with my morning pages, but if I'm being completely honest, I haven't been super inspired to practice my typical morning journal routine. I barely got a page in for every day this week. I only wanted to spend like 15 minutes or so writing, including this day. I was thinking of pushing myself to finish the 2 pages that I normally do, even if it took up more time of my morning to complete them, just for the sake of this video, but I decided against it and chose to divvy up my time instead, which was about an hour and a half of sitting in bed this morning. I read something somewhere that encouraged writing when you have a lot on your mind, and reading when there's not a whole lot, or maybe you're feeling uninspired. Definitely feeling the latter. So I spent 20 minutes just filling the page with some writing, giving a recap of what happened in the last 24 hours since I checked in. I also wrote out some bullet points of thoughts that I would want to go back in and elaborate on if I were to go back and write later that day. But even if I don't get to those points, which I didn't, it feels a lot better to have written them out on paper, just so they're not taking up as much space in my head. Then I spent about 10 minutes filling in Friday's daily log in my bullet journal. I've been trying to make my bullet journal a more active part of my system, so I've been taking it into the bedroom with me to fill it out there, and just making sure that I tote it around everywhere in the apartment, just so I'm using it. I still have plans to upload my 2022 bullet journal setup. I'm aiming to get that up sometime this week, but I've kind of just been laying low with that in the meantime, trying to improve the system and make it as useful and helpful as possible for myself, but also to share with you guys in a video. And then, just skipping a little ahead in the voiceover, I spent the rest of my time in bed reading Reminders of Him. I was actually rereading some chapters that I had skimmed during my first read-through from last Friday, and then ended up rereading some of the parts that I had fully read. It was a lot of back and forth, but I was just trying to wrap my head around this novel. I will give a spoiler-free review a little later in this video, but for now I will say that I did not like this book. The next session is from Friday at 11 p.m. This was right before I went to sleep. I caught up in my bullet journal, and then I started writing my review for Reminders of Him, but as I was writing, I was getting a little annoyed. Why am I spending my Friday night writing about a book that I didn't enjoy? The completionist in me wanted to just get it done, get it out of the way, but the working girl in me wanted to cherish these limited weekend hours. So I stopped writing the review and grabbed the next book that I'm working on, which is A Man Called Uva. but I actually ended up passing out pretty hard after getting like 2 lines in. Sometimes my end of the week exhaustion and my comfy bed have other plans for me, and that's okay. The next session is from Saturday morning. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in any of my recent uploads, but Saturdays are my rest days for morning journal pages. We usually sleep in on Saturdays. Sometimes we go grocery shopping, whatever it is. I just try to take advantage of the extra morning hours with John. I also try to redistribute my energy for journaling to my creative journal and other projects throughout the weekend. Here, I'm just finishing up my review on Reminders of Him, and you guys, I seem to be among the minority who did not enjoy this book. I don't mean to sound insensitive to the characters, Kenna's story, and anyone who relates to her story, but I just feel like this book wasn't very good. I'll just say there wasn't a whole lot of depth to the characters, the POVs, the plot. I feel like it focused so much on the romance aspect, and that really took away from Kenna's whole thing. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or if you read the book, how you feel about it. Did I cry towards the end of the book? Well, yeah, it's a Coho book. Colleen is really good at milking you for your tears with her romance novels. I love romance novels. I loved the other 3 books that I read from her, but I gave this book 2 stars. I will probably reread it eventually just to give it another shot, but honestly, first time through, I didn't really like it. And there's my little spiel on that. After my bullet journal, I moved on to my Hobonichi Cousin. I caught up in the monthly daily highlight log with some stickers, with little blurbs of gratitude. And I was gonna fill in my weekly log because I was a little bit behind, but I looked at those pages and I was like, nope, we are not doing that right now. No. But then I went back to my bullet journal, made note of my pen change that was happening there. I wasn't really getting on with the Muji gel pen that I was using, and I was very happy to switch it to this Uniball Signo RT1 that performs a lot better on regular paper. And then after that, I went back to the Hobonichi Cousin. Yes, a lot of flip-flopping. The other night, I tried to film an ASMR style video with the Timon Brewer paper in here and my Tombos, but it didn't really work out, so you won't be seeing that footage, but that's okay because this page is obviously still very helpful with these watercolor brush markers. They perform so different from how they would on regular bright white paper, and it's really hard to guess sometimes what they're gonna look like in this notebook. So I just finished swatching the Zig brush markers since I reserved this page for both sets of markers. I could have probably used 2 separate pages to house all of these swatches, but there's enough pages in this Hobonichi Cousin that I could probably do that sometime in the future. And the last thing that I did on Saturday was film a haul and pen test video for my most recent jet pens order. I can link that if you want to check that out. And then the last session of this video is from Sunday at around 11 a.m. I was actually up at 7:30 this morning, but I was editing some YouTube videos in bed. I decided to skip my morning pages again. Not a big deal. John and I went to Paris Baguette, like at around 9:45-ish, and we got some pastries and lattes and spent the morning together. It was actually snowing outside when we went, and it was still snowing when we came back, and it was just such a lovely, cozy morning. I had to charge my phone in the meantime, but once it was charged, I went in and started filling out my daily log and my bullet journal. I'll explain this in the separate bullet journal video, but just to let you know now, I tend to only migrate tasks if I'm turning the page and won't be able to see them from the other daily logs that I'd been working on. Throughout a spread, I don't typically migrate tasks across the daily logs. If I can see that a task has been left unfinished, I can keep track of it pretty easily when that particular log is still in view. But since I'm turning the page for Sunday, I migrated all of those unfinished things so that I don't have to keep flipping back and forth and it doesn't get lost. So it looks like I made a really big list, and technically I did, but a lot of it was migrated. I hope that makes sense. But stay tuned for the bullet journal video, so hopefully then I can explain it better. And then I moved on to my Hobonichi Cousin. I filled in the highlight for Saturday, and I actually used some washi from Wonton and a Million. I was very excited to be able to whip out some washi since I don't use it very often on my pages or just in general, but I have such a cute little selection to choose from that I will try to use them more often in this notebook. Finally, I moved on to the weekly recap log. This week I'm using stickers from Sticky Rice Co. and the combination of a Tombow 553 and the dark gray Unipin pen. This combination of the two markers was not intentional, but very necessary, and that swatch page that I worked on would have come in handy before I set this weekly up last Sunday. Also, I made the switch from the Uniball Signo RT1 to the Uniball 1 pen. I don't mind the difference, it is very obvious on the pages, but I'm just really glad to be using this pen again. Pen preferences and recommendations are different depending on the person and the type of book they're using. For me, I really like the 0.5mm Uniball 1 in the Hobonichi Cousin. I find that the ink is very rich and black. It glides across the page very smoothly. It dries almost instantly and is visibly matte, and you don't have to worry about it transferring to other pages or smudging days after writing, which is something that happened pretty often with the Uniball Signo. I decided to stop filming and finish the spread off camera just so I could text my sister more peacefully. And I finished the weekly log. I also started filling in my brain dump journal in my Leuchtturm planner for the week ahead. I got some shots of those, as well as some shots showing you the sticker disaster that happened in my corner of the office where I usually film. And yeah, that is it for my weekend planning and journaling sessions. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more of this kind of content. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!